In honor of Tisha B'Av, that's very fast and upcoming, I want to read to you a paragraph or two from a sefer called Likutei Halachos for Orach Chaim. And he speaks about the period of Bein HaMitzarim, and especially about Tisha B'Av. He writes, Haklal shetzrichim lishmar ma'od ma'od es hazikaron. There is a very important memory or linkage to some idea that we have to constantly strengthen ourselves. And that is Lizkar Hete B'chol Yom Bi Alma Di Osi Shelo Yishkach Mi Libo Es Tachliso Hanitzchi. In other words, on the one hand, man is a physical, material being, and he's very much aware of that all the time. His material needs, to gather together wealth so that he can put food on his table. But on the other hand, the halacha requires of us to have a constant awareness of the spiritual goal of our life. And that is tachliso hanitzchi. So let's emphasize the word nitzchi. Nitzchi is a Hebrew word that has two different meanings. Number one, nitzchi means eternal, and nitzchi also means miloshen nitzachon. Nitzachon is a victory. He says that what we need is, as soon as we wake up in the morning, he says, Tekef Baboker is kshepotech et einav, he opens his eyes, Yazkir et atzmo miyad, he should remind himself immediately that his ultimate goal is the spiritual world, the world of infinity, not this physical material world. Sheyagdil dato, he should focus his mind, lavin, to understand that Hashem is with him, b'machshava b'dibur b'maisa, meaning every thought, every speech, every action, mazmin lo lefi hayom, lefi ha'adam, lefi ha'makom. It's all relative to the person wherever he is, and at any time, Hashem Yisbarach B'atzmo is merames lo, God himself will give him certain remazim. Remazim are literally hints or allusions. La shivoy lav. And if we pick up on these hints, these messages, then we'll realize that God is calling out to us to ask us to come closer to him. Lishmar zikaron tamid, we should always remember and be aware, lishmar tatzmo mira'ayin, to prevent ourselves and protect ourselves from perhaps jealousy. And he says, Ze bechinas bein hamitzarim, shetzrichim lis'abel mi'od. This is a period of intense mourning and grief, livkos harbei, al churba beis hamikdash, ki ikar ha'adam bo la'olam hazeh, b'shvil hazikaron hazeh. Why is the memory of the Beis Hamikdash and the awareness of it so important? That his mind should always be connected with that connection to the higher world, which is the Beis Hamikdash. This world is hevel v'rik. It's really just meaningless. I mean, you can enjoy the pleasure of this world, but then, before you know it, life goes by and they bury you. Sail over the anan kala. It's like a flashing, passing shade or shadow or cloud. V'chol yamav, and what is his life made of? Kas, machovos, suffering, agony, anger. V'lo ba ha'adam lazeh ha'olam kim b'shvil hanitzchius. He was brought to this world for infinity. Kadeshi Yisnake, he should be cleansed, v'yitztaref, and he should be cathartically cleansed, v'olam hazeh, v'al yidei zeh yizkeh l'chaim nitzchiyim shel olam haba. Al ken, b'vadei tzarech kol adam lizkar heite b'chol yom, u'b'chol eis, u'b'chol sha'ah, tachliso hanitzchi, to remember to be davek machshavto with the Almighty and the Infinite. But there's something that, in a sense, prevents us and is attacking us. There's a barrier. And as a result, Meshakech, it's coming to make us forget this Zikaron. And if we get out of hand, if we allow these forces to prevent us from focusing and having dvekus in the Almighty, then al yidei ze gorem l'churban Beis Hamikdash. If we're not aware of the Beis Hamikdash, then what's it all for? It might as well be taken away. Ki ikar zikaron nimchach mikdushas Eretz Yisrael v'Yerushalayim Beis Hamikdash. Where do we get the power of zikaron to remember Hashem? It comes from Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim, the Beis Hamikdash. Shesham ikar is galus elokus. That is where there's the most profound revelation of divinity. V'sham yecholam lahazkir es atzmam biyoser bi'alma diyasi. You can remember the infinite world. B'kol makom asher azkir shmi. Whenever my name is mentioned, God says, I will bring a bracha upon you. Rashi says, Ein ze'el b'beis hamikdash. Shesham nitan reshus lahazkir shma gadol. That's where we're allowed to enunciate the holy name of God. V'zeu lashon azkir. What does it mean? Kol makom asher azkir shmi. Azkir is milashon zikaron, to remember Hashem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself somehow penetrates into our machshava dibra ma'isa b'chol yom in order to try to arouse man and remind him of his purpose, his nitzchius, his infinite purpose. And that's the meaning of the word azkir. And when a person mentions the name of God, he should remember Hashem, he should have dveikus on Hashem. And he says, to wrap this up, he says that hazikarnu l'fi adam l'fi hamakom l'fi hayom shebemes b'chol yom u'b'chol makom u'b'chol adam ba'olam yachol lizkar tamid bi'alma diyasi im yasim libo heitev lezev liyates atzmo. He says that a person should fool himself. He has to realize that no matter where he is, when he is, and who he is, he always has that potential to remember, to connect with Almighty, with divinity, unless he fools himself. Where in the Beis Hamikdash does it come from? Minekudas Even Shesiyah. What is so great about Even Shesiyah? Shesham, at the Even Shesiyah, niskabzu kol shlosh bechinos elu yachad b'tachlis hakdusha. All the sanctities converge and overlap at the Even Shesiyah. Dainu Adam, Hamakom, Vazman. Why? Kisham nichnas hakohen gadol b'yom HaKippurim. So that's the greatest kiddush of Adam. Vayidei zeh שהכהן גדול הוא מובחר מכל ישראל, כהנים נבחרו והכהן גדול הוא מובחר שבכהנים, זהו בחינת שלמות האדם. That's the most perfect manifestation of man. ונכנס לפני ולפנים לבייס קודשי קדושים. And on Yom Kippur, he goes into the holiest of places, שהוא מקום הקדוש בתכלס הקדושה מכל מקום שבעולם. No place on the face of the earth has that sanctity of the Beis Hamikdash. And when is it? Nichnas b'yom HaKippurim, to Yom Echad B'Shana, shekolel kol yemos Hashana. All the sanctity of the entire world is collapsed, so to speak, in that day of Yom Kippur, and therefore it's called Shabbat Shabboson, Kadosh Mikol Yemos Hashana. And now we have the convergence at the point of the Even Shesiyah of all the Kedushas when the Kohen Gadol goes on Yom HaKippurim Lifnai V'Lifnim. And therefore, what we can accomplish if we had the Beis Hamikdash, or at least if we can connect to the Beis Hamikdash, is the hefech of Ra'ayin, of all those powers and forces that try to make us forget. And we can achieve the Bechina of Ayin Tova, And that's what Shir means when it says Heviani Amelech Hadarav, Nagila v'nismecha bach. And in the Beis Hamikdash, that's where we come into the chambers and we have a rendezvous, so to speak, with the Almighty. And that's what's going to bring about our experience of the Beis Hamikdash. But on Tisha B'Av, we recite Kiddush. And at the end of the Kiddush, we get to the Pasuk. He's talking about the reading of Eicha. Hashivenu Hashem Eilecha. Because Ikar Kavanasenu B'Bchiyasenu B'Kinos, the main purpose and goal of that crying during Kinos is Kidei La'orer Rachmav Yisbarach Sheyashivenu Elav Be'emes, that God should take us back, Vishenizkar, and will remember Lachnia Ayin Ra, to subjugate all those forces Ulavatel Shivcha that tried to get us to forget Nizkel Lizikaron Lizacher Hetev, to remember those elements of infinity. And those, he says, are the shalosh pa'amim that we say Eicha, Keneged shalosh bechinas hanal, Adam, Makom, Uzman, Shehem v'tachlis hashlemus b'beis hamikdash. All this we lost. So we recite Eicha 3 times, paralleling the loss of the shlemus of the Beis Hamikdash as far as Adam, Makom, and Zman. Shal Yidei Shichacha, as a result of the Shichacha, Nechrav, Beis Mikdashenu, Bavanosenu, V'kolal, and it's all included in one pasuk in Eicha in the 2nd chapter. And he goes on and on through the psukim in Eicha to show how the Eicha corresponds to these 3 bechinos of Kedushas Adam, Makom, and Zman. Okay, then, now, Mitzvah Hashem, we'll hope and pray that we have a